class, and we started overview of soil fertility. And we tried to learn the definition of soil fertility, what is soil fertility, how it is important for sustainable agriculture, and what are the factors that affect the fertility of the soil, and what is the difference between fertility and productivity. And now today we will see difference in plant nutrition, mineral nutrition, and soil fertility all together, these three aspects. So I will just run through the slides so that I come to the slide where I left yesterday. So just you remember this, this is soil fertility and three classes of soil fertility: biological, chemical, and physical soil fertility. And then we have seen how these agronomic practices or cultural practices have influence on biological, chemical, and physical properties of the soil. And we have seen organic matter, tillage, controlled traffic, fertilizer, and then weed management and maybe irrigation. Many cultural practices can influence soil fertility because it is dynamic. It can change with the management. It can change with the farmers' practices. This slide shows the value of agronomic practices that, that the efficient agronomic practices or cultural practices can definitely keep your soil fertility well, and it will lead to sustainable agriculture, means continuous agriculture. So we have seen different factors that affect the fertility like soil depth, soil structure, soil texture, and then contents of nutrients, means how much quantity of available nutrients is there in the soil. Then storage capacity, cation exchange capacity, which is governed by colloids, mostly by soil colloids, and soil pH also affects the fertility. There may be sufficient nutrient, but there is the pH is distorted. It is too acidic or too alkaline. Then your nutrient availability will be affected or soil fertility will be affected. And we have seen some toxic material, if it is reaching the soil, it can also reduce your soil fertility. Similarly, microbes, less number of microbes means less microbial activity and your soil fertility is low. And then organic matter is the master of all factors which affect soil fertility. So we discussed organic matter also. And then we have seen some differences in soil fertility and productivity. Practically, there are no difference, but people have made several differences, artificial differences in soil fertility and productivity, soil productivity. I tried to make differences in these two, fertile and productive soils. And then you can see this soil productivity. Soil productivity has been measured in terms of crop yielding ability. How much crops can be produced per unit area? That is soil productivity. But friends, I ask you one question, that you have two kind of soil or you have one kind of soil and you have a field of say 1 hectare. It is divided into two equal half. In first half, you have sown the crop, same crop, suppose wheat was sown. In another half, you have also sown the wheat crop. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
good,
Yes, sir.
very good. So suppose you have two fields, equal area, and they are adjacent. In one field you have sown wheat crop. In another field also you have sown the wheat crop. Wheat crop. In both cases, germination happened. In one case, first case, you have controlled the weeds. In second case, you have not controlled the weed. You have not controlled the weed. In both the cases, the plant growth may be there. In the first case, in the second case. In the second case, both crops as well as weeds are growing. And they have produced very high biomass, weeds plus crop. In the first case, it was just crop. So would you call the number two soil as unproductive? Would you call it? Okay, it has produced a lot of weeds and crop was less. But I can't say that that soil was not productive because it has produced the plant. So plant yielding ability of a soil is your productivity. That was mistake mistake of the management, mistake of the management. So practically there is not much difference in fertility and productivity, but as a student you can, and further I can say that just I seek your attention. Soil produces crops. So besides crops, soil is doing variety of functions. Soil is also producing microbes. It is also producing microbes in the soil, biomass in the soil. It is producing earthworm also in the soil. Soil is also producing nutrients. Soil is also producing nutrient. So why don't we measure soil productivity with respect to nutrient supplying capacity of the soil? How much nutrient it can manufacture? How much nutrient it can release? That should be soil productivity. How much earthworms it can produce? That should be soil productivity. For example, in my view, soil productivity should be measured with respect to the nutrient use efficiency. Nutrient use efficiency. A soil which is having higher nutrient use efficiency should be more productive than the soil which is not having higher nutrient use efficiency. I think you need to think over this. You can take two examples. In one case, soil is giving more nutrient use efficiency. In other case, soil is giving less nutrient use efficiency. So soil which is giving more nutrient use efficiency is productive soil. It is having more productivity because the if we take the definition of soil productivity, it says that crop yield per unit area. So how you can compare soil productivity with crop productivity? That is actually crop productivity. The yield per hectare, which normally people say is soil productivity, that is actually crop productivity. That is productivity of the plants. It is not soil productivity. So anyway, as a student, you can remember that these are the two terms which find a difference. They are different things. And friends, I have seen more than 20 books on this subject of soil fertility, fertilizer, and in no book, in no good books are soil fertility and fertilizer, Tisdale, Nelson, etc., Brady, Nature and Properties of Soil, and there are many more good books. Not even in a single book I found these terms, soil difference in soil fertility and productivity. They don't take it as a subject. It is only in our books. Our books means Indian books. Many books are being published by Chanda Mama. Chanda Mama, they are the local publishers. Local publisher, they can get written anything. So they give emphasis, too much emphasis on these two terms, soil fertility, productivity. And they forget many more important aspects. So don't worry about it. There is no difference. So as I told you that these are the same factor which will affect your nutrient availability, soil fertility, plant growth, and they will also affect your productivity. So now you can remember that fertile soils are not always highly productive. These are the statements, but the productive soils are always fertile. And very fertile and very productive soils are rarely found in nature. So I just yesterday I flashed this slide that you have seen a highly productive and highly fertile soil should mobilize nutrients from the reserves. So in soil you have reserves in organic matter, reserves on colloids, so and reserves as a minerals also. There are certain minerals which can be broken down into the soil, which can be solubilized to release the nutrients. So a fertile soil should also transform fertilizer nutrients into easily available forms. Means suppose you have added some insoluble fertilizer, say rock phosphate you have added or some other insoluble fertilizer, then soil should quickly transform it into the available forms, and it should have sufficient storage capacity. Means highly fertile and highly productive soil is generally having high cation exchange capacity, and it also offers all the nutrients required for the plant growth in appropriate proportions, in the balance amounts, and also it has sufficient water there, because it should have capacity to hold water. Your nutrients are useless unless water is there in the soil. and it maintains highly productive and highly fertile soil, maintains good soil aeration. Aeration is necessary for growth of the roots, for growth of the microbes, and oxidation. Oxidation or decomposition of organic material. You need oxygen. So oxygen sufficient supply should be there. If a soil becomes anaerobic, it may not be fertile. And the fixation of the nutrients is less. Means suppose you apply water soluble fertilizers. Water soluble fertilizer, for example, single superphosphate. If you apply it into the soil, it should get less fixation. Soil should get less fixation of the phosphorus or any other nutrients. And it also improves the use efficiency of nutrient. Use efficiency of nutrients means with little amount of nutrient, it should be able to produce more crops, more yield, and it provides nutrients throughout the growing season. This is important. Friends, there are three fundamental principles of soil fertility. First fundamental principle of soil fertility is law of minimum. Law of minimum was proposed by Liebig. Liebig proposed the law of minimum. Number two, law of fertility or principle of fertility is synchrony. Synchrony in supply means the soil should supply nutrients as per requirement of the crop. In certain ages of the crop, it will need less quantity of nutrient, and during grand growth phase, fast vegetative phase, it will need more quantity of nutrients, and while reaching maturity, it will need less quantity of nutrient. So soil should supply nutrients as per requirement of the crop. That is principle of synchrony. And third principle of soil fertility is nutrient cycling. Soil should be able to cycle the nutrients. So these are the three fundamental principles of soil fertility: law of minimum, synchrony, principle of synchrony, and third one is nutrient cycling. These three aspects are very, very important in soil fertility. So here it provides nutrients throughout the growing season. That means as per need of the crop, soil should supply nutrients. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
you are
sir.
listening. Okay. Any question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please ask. Okay, and we have seen some differences in soil fertility and productivity. So I think I need not to repeat. These are really some artificial differences, but you need to tell them. You need to remember them. Now, question comes: what is the difference in soil fertility and plant nutrition? One of you can come forward and give me answer. What is difference in soil fertility and plant nutrition? Please start your microphone and give me answer. There is no harm in discussion. Yes, please.
So soil fertility means the ability of soil to provide all the micro and macronutrients. But
Good.
plant nutrition means because all the nutrients are not needed for plants, so which are needed, that only come under plant nutrition.
Okay. Any other? Any other come forward, please? So he has very rightly said the difference about fertility and plant nutrition. Soil fertility means status of the nutrients, simply status of the nutrient, and it should be supplied in adequate and balanced amount. You remember soil fertility, what is. Plant nutrition means how the nutrient are taken up by the crop. It is the study of the subject where people make study on nutrient uptake, how nutrients are removed by the crop, and then how they are translocated in the plant system. And then metabolism, how nutrients are utilized inside the plant system. Means nutrient uptake, nutrient transport, mobilize. Yeah. Hello, somebody's microphone is on. Please put it off. Microphone, somebody, microphone. Hello, Subhasis. Okay, I don't know who was it. Anyway, so plant nutrition means your nutrient uptake, translocation of nutrient, and assimilation of these nutrients into some compounds in the plant system. And also these nutrients are playing number of roles in the plants, like enzyme synthesis, production of vitamins. So many roles of minerals are there in the soil. Means what kind of role they are playing. This is part of plant nutrition. If they are deficient, what kind of symptoms are shown by the plant? And if there is deficiency of nutrient, it will show some symptoms. How many nutrients are essential? Criteria of essentiality. All these subjects are the part of plant nutrition. All these subjects are the part of plant nutrition. Once you detect the fertility problem, that this was deficiency of phosphorus or potassium and so on, then you will try to manage. What you will try to manage? Then you will try to manage the soil fertility, mainly soil fertility. Then again soil fertility comes into picture. So overall, you can see the difference in soil fertility and plant nutrition. Soil fertility is the nutrient, this content in the soil, and they are supplied in adequate and balanced amount. And plant nutrition mainly with the uptake of the nutrients, translocation, and their synthesis, and their different roles or functions in the plant. What functions are being played by the elements or nutrients in the plant system. So this is the difference. So you can see in the next slide, plant nutrition studies the effect of demand elements on plant growth, whether it is good growth or poor growth and development, and determines the forms and conditions of availability and uptake, and establishes the range of beneficial and detrimental effects. This is plant nutrition. So how plants, and finally you can see the last two lines, they are important. How plants take up the nutrients and use them in their metabolism is called as plant nutrition. It should be clear. And you can note down your questions. You can note down your questions, because if we discuss in between, I think there are a lot of problems and discontinuity happens. So better you note down your questions and we will discuss at the end. Okay. So there will not be disturbance every time. But if somebody is not able to listen to me, or there is some video problem or audio problem, you can tell me. It should not be just one-way traffic that I am just speaking and you are not getting it, you are not receiving it. So if any problem comes, you just tell me, please. So otherwise,
Okay.
I'll go on one-way track so that disturbances are minimum. Okay, and questions will be answered in the end. So now another term, sometimes just we have seen it is just plant nutrition. Now you will see one more terminology, that is mineral nutrition. So actually what happens, if you remember your BSc classes in agriculture, teacher must have taught you weathering of rocks. So first the rocks are the source of minerals. They are broken down, and these broken rocks will make your soil. And in soil you will find lot of minerals. Lot of minerals are there, and these minerals are further mineralized into salts or into ions, which are removed by the crop, or which are taken up by the crop. But that is the not case with the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen plant is not getting from the soil minerals, and it is not getting in mineral form. It is mostly getting from water or carbon dioxide or oxygen. So the subject of mineral nutrition includes your all minerals, and it does not include your carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen nutrition, because farmer need not to bother about carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. I think you may not have heard up to now how farmers are managing carbon dioxide, how farmers are how their plants are getting hydrogen or oxygen. They mainly concentrate only with the minerals which are necessary for the plant growth. So, and also I suggest you take any plant biomass, you burn it, you burn it, put the fire, and carbon will be released. Carbon will become carbon dioxide, hydrogen will be released, and oxygen will also be released, and some part of nitrogen will also be evaporated, and maybe little sulfur. So in the end, after the burning of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, you will get minerals. So again, on burning, you are getting minerals. You are not getting carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Therefore, mineral nutrition means study of nutrition of just minerals, not carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So this is the difference in plant nutrition and mineral nutrition. In plant nutrition, you also study management of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But in mineral nutrition, just you restrict only to the minerals. So this finishes this part, and now we will go to next presentation. So welcome again. This is next part of soil fertility. We are mostly dealing with the soil fertility. And friends, soil fertility is very necessary to get the good plant growth. If you want to produce crops, you need to manage your soil fertility. But these days, as you might have heard, that we are not getting the same kind of fertility. There is some decline in the nutrient status of the soil. All the soils are not rich. I tell you, I have been one time a student of GB Pant University, Pantnagar, in MSc. So that time organic carbon content in soil was 3%. Now it has reduced to less than 1%. So can you imagine in just okay, it is so many years, but what I want to say that the carbon content at soil has declined. It is happening in many parts of our country that soil fertility is going down. It is getting low and low. So we need to understand that why this soil fertility is declining. And also we need to understand what do we mean by decline in soil fertility. What is decrease in soil fertility? We should see it. So this is the main objective or purpose of this course, sorry, this lecture, that we will see current status of soil fertility, how much rich it is in nutrients, how much better pH it has. We will study the current status, causes, then we will look for the reason why there are changes, why there are decline in soil fertility, and finally, if it has decreased, how to improve it, how to manage it, how to restore it. So this is the subject of this lecture. And let us first of all learn what is the decline in soil fertility, what is the decrease in fertility. It means the decline in soil fertility means decrease in soil organic matter content, cation exchange capacity, plant nutrients, and adverse soil pH. If these things are happening in soil, then we can say that soil fertility is declining. If our soil organic matter is getting down, getting lowered, CEC is reducing, your plant nutrients are decreasing, and there is adversity in the pH. It has become too acidic or too alkaline. Then we can say that there is fertility decline. So soil fertility decline mainly includes, first is nutrient depletion. Nutrient depletion means we remove more and addition is less. So original status of nutrients will decrease. The nutrient mining, actually nutrient depletion and nutrient mining, they are almost same. They are almost same, but sometimes people make a difference in these two. Nutrient depletion means you are adding less, removing more. Nutrient mining means you are just removing and you are not adding anything into the soil. Like, mines, coal mines, any kind of mining work we do, we just take out the things and we not give back anything there. So this is nutrient mining means you are just going on removing the nutrients and you are not adding anything from outside. Or acidification or alkalization can also happen due to bad management, inefficient management of the soil. Of course, sometimes due to natural factors also. And then loss of organic matter can also happen. I will discuss this later, how this soil organic matter get lost from the soils. And then there may be definitely increase in toxic element. These pollutants are entering our soil. So these toxic elements can also reduce fertility. Pollutants, pesticides, heavy metals, they are reaching our land. So increase in level of pollutants will definitely decrease our fertility. So this is soil fertility decline, and we have seen that what are the things that are included in the soil fertility decline. Now, some general observations about fertility in India. What is the status and how people perceive? What is the perception of the farmers about soil fertility? I think some of you are from rural background, or some of you have visited the villages. If you go to the farmers, discuss with them, and they will say, my soil is not powerful. They say in their own words, इसमें जान नहीं है, इसमें ताकत नहीं है, इसमें शक्ति नहीं है, पहले जैसी ताकत नहीं है. Means it is not that much fertile, which it was say 10 years or 20 years before. Means its strength, its power, its fertility has gone down. This is the general observation by the farmers. And you will also agree to it that definitely the fertility is going down. And you know, to get the same level of yield, you need to increase the nutrient amount. For example, my teacher, Professor Dr. Rajendra Prasad, when he was teaching fertility in agronomy division, this very agronomy division, he told us that 1 kg nitrogen will give you 32 kg grains of rice. 1 kg nitrogen will give you 32 kg grains of rice. Now we are teaching that, say after 25, 28 years, now we are saying that 1 kg nitrogen will give you only 18 or 20 kg grain. Nitrogen is same. It is 1 kg nitrogen. But 30 years before or 25 years before, it was giving you 30 kg grains or 32 kg grains. Now it is giving you 20 kg grains. It means if you want to get 30 kg grain, you need to increase the nitrogen amount. Means now your 2 kg nitrogen will give you, or 1.5 kg nitrogen will give you 30 kg grain. That means that the fertilizer use efficiency has gone down. Efficiency has gone down, or productivity of the fertilizer has gone down. So you need more fertilizer to get the same level of the yield. Now question comes that why it is happening? Why you need to add more fertilizer to get the same amount of yield? It is because the response to fertilizer has declined. The response to fertilizer has declined. Why it has declined? Because of imbalanced use. Number one is because of imbalanced use, the response to fertilizer has declined. Second thing, because of reduced level of organic matter. Organic matter is very, very important in soil fertility. Reduced level of soil organic matter also affects the nutrient use efficiency. So these are the two important reasons: imbalanced fertilization and reduced levels of or reduced addition of organic matter into the soil. So overall, if your soil fertility is getting down, it is a big question on the sustainability of agroecosystem. So sustainability of agroecosystem will go down if your soil fertility is declining. And friends, what will happen if farmer will get 20 kg grain from 1 kg fertilizer, although he was getting 30 kg? So now his cost will increase. He will require to add 2 kg of nitrogen to get 30 or 35 kg of grain. That means cost of production will increase. So profit of the farmer will go down. So your soil fertility decline is related to profitability also. Profitability of the farmers. Now we see the now this is very somewhat old study done by Mosara in 2002. It is just to give you some idea that what is the current status of soil fertility in India. So that is the latest data I could find. So you can see in India we have about 533 soil testing labs representing 450 districts. So this is all data. Now you may be having more soil testing labs in different districts of India. So just you leave the second point, see the third point. Most soils are deficient in nitrogen. Most of the soil are deficient in nitrogen in India. Moderate levels of P and medium to high levels of K. This is the conclusion of soil fertility in India. Half soils are deficient in zinc. Now see the micronutrient deficiency in the country level. You can get the latest figures from some other sources. 33% soils are deficient in boron and 15% soils may be deficient in iron. This is the result of Mosara. You can see, first you see for nitrogen, about 63% soils or soil samples were low in nitrogen. Means we have soil fertility classes, low, medium, high. In India, we have this kind of classification system. If your nitrogen is, I just forgot, maybe 180 to 560, something like this, 180 to 560, more than 560. So there are certain levels. Similarly, for phosphorus, it may be 10 to 24. And similarly, for potassium, it may be 110 to, I forgot, you can see it from your textbook. So 63% soils were low in nitrogen, say about 18 years before. 63% soils were low, 26% were medium, and only 11% soils were high in fertility. Similarly, for phosphorus, 42% samples were low, 38% samples were medium, and 20% were high in fertility. For potassium, situation was somewhat better. Only 13% samples were low in potassium, 37% medium, and 50%, half of the soil were high in fertility. So that time there was no problem, but still half of the soils were medium to low in potassium. So this was the situation of the NPK and micronutrients. Now see the situation of organic matter in the country. Long-term experiments are being done by India at many centers. Some of you are aware of it, and you will have one lecture on long-term fertilizer experiment also. So organic matter content has declined in long-term experiment also, where adequate NPK fertilization was there. Adequate NPK fertilization was there. Even in that case, the carbon content or organic matter content declined. So what they found that if you supply farmyard manure in 50-50, 50% NPK and 50% nitrogen from farmyard manure, then your organic matter content may increase. But if you supply just fertilizer, NPK fertilizer, your organic matter carbon content may go down. So just fertilizers are not enough to maintain the organic carbon or organic matter levels in the soil. In rice wheat system belt, reported by Sinha et al., organic carbon content has declined from 0.5% to 0.2% in 1990s. Message is simple, that in rice wheat cropping system belt, carbon content or organic matter content is even less than the lower level, less than the low, much less than the low. Low level is 0.5%. It is just 0.2%. You can think it is too low organic matter levels, or also the organic carbon level. So the decreased level of plant nutrients and soil organic matter is a serious threat to sustainable food production, because your fertility will not be sustained. It cannot be maintained. So it is a threat. Now, question comes that why the levels of organic matter are getting down? Why they are getting down? Number one, uh, we are having intensive cropping system. Our cropping systems are very intensive. We are taking 2 crops, 3 crops in a year, which remove large amount of nutrient. And during this process, we go for tillage. Number of tillage operations are done, aeration is done, so decomposition rate are very fast. The sequestration of the carbon, formation of humus is also very slow. So it is mainly intensive cropping system where a lot of tillage is being practiced. This is one reason. Number two reason is burning of residues. You remember people from environmental science should have more concern that some carbon can be brought back into the soil by mixing these residues or by putting these residues as mulch, but they are being burnt. So this also, we are also losing carbon or organic matter on this account. Number three, the addition of organic matter as such is low. Addition of organic matter as such is low because now farmers are have started mechanization. Mechanization of agriculture has been increasing. Now you harvest wheat by combine, you plow your field by tractor. So mechanization has increased, because of which farmers are keeping less number of draft animals. Draft animals means your bullocks or your he buffalo. They used to plow your land. Now tractors are plowing your land. So in that case, if you are not keeping draft animals, where from the organic manure will come? Where from the farmyard manure will come? So farmers are keeping less number of draft animal, because of which they want to keep just milching animal that can give them milk or meat. They are keeping those kind of animals. So because of this also, they are getting less addition of manures, less addition of manures. And also another important reason is monoculture. Are you getting these points? This monoculture is also contributing towards reduced level of organic matter into the soil, because you do not have variety of rotations, which is causing some soil fertility problems. I will discuss in crop rotations how they are important. So these are the 4-5 reasons why organic matter is declining in soil. Number one is that you are adding less. Number two, animal problem. I told you, we are tropical country. We are doing intensive farming, lot of plowing, so burning. Because of all these reasons, organic matter in our soils is going down. And definitely there is urgent need to improve the soil fertility by adding organic matter, by adding nutrients, and by adopting cropping system, by adopting crop rotations. Now, we will discuss why this soil fertility decline. Now you have seen that nutrient level is going down. Soils are deficient in micronutrients, macronutrients. Soils are getting deficient in organic matter. So we'll see in detail that what are the things, what are the factors that are responsible for it, that are responsible for decline in fertility. So you can see in this picture, increase in crop yield. Crop yield has increased tremendously. Now, in every crop, we are increasing yields, productivity. So this increased yield demand for more nutrients. Now we have hybrid varieties, high-yielding varieties. They demand more nutrients. And because of this, a lot of nutrients are removed from the soil and addition is less. So nutrient depletion happens. So this is the main thing that is happening, particularly in irrigated ecosystems, responsible for decline in fertility. Now you can see the reasons. You need to remember all these reasons. These reasons have been prescribed by Roy and co-workers in 2006. I have sent you very excellent book, Soil Fertility and Food Security. Soil Fertility and Plant Nutrition for Food Security. This is by Roy et al. One day I sent you, this is from FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. I think all of you have a copy of that book. That is worth reading. You can read certain selected chapter from that book, particularly student of soil science and agronomy, or any student who may be interested to know very simple language and this is kind of textbook. This acts just like a textbook. So you can open any chapter on INM or food security. I forgot the name, but it is by Roy et al. Very good book on this subject. So it has listed 8 reasons. 8 reasons for decline in soil fertility. Number one is loss of topsoil by erosion, the most important factor responsible for soil fertility decline. So here is the list. I will discuss one by one. Nutrient mining, physical degradation, decrease in organic matter, loss of nutrients, soil acidification, or inefficient soil management, and soil pollution. So these are the important 8 reasons or factors because of which soil fertility is getting down. So we start with soil erosion. Most of the students in this group understand what is the soil erosion. It is detachment and transport and accumulation of soil particles. You can remember quite easily detachment, transport, and accumulation of soil particles from one place to another place. It is very easy to remember. Detachment, transport, and accumulation of soil particles from one place to another place is known as soil erosion. It can be by water or wind, I think you understand. So what it is doing, it is removing the topsoil, which is very fertile in nutrients. It is very fertile in organic matter and very fertile in microbial population, the beneficial organism. If this top layer is washed away, your lot of nutrients are washed away. I think most of you understand the soil erosion problem in India. It is happening in many places. We get lot of floods in our country. Many rivers, they do devastating effect on soils. Sometimes your villages are even submerged. All land is submerged by flooding. So that carries away your useful material from the topsoil, and sometimes it can bring sand also. It will put sand on the clay, on the loam. They will put the sand. So it is happening, this soil erosion everywhere. So most of the reasons of soil erosion are understood to you, that why this soil erosion is happening. Maybe because of deforestation, overgrazing, poor soil management, and now climate change has also come into picture. This climate change may also be responsible for increased level of soil erosion. You can think over it, how we can relate soil erosion, climate change to soil erosion. Does it affecting soil erosion? Will it affect the soil erosion, this climate change? So all these factors are responsible. And of course, poor management of the soil. Farmers may go for too much of plowing. They are not planting cover crops. Cover crops can protect your soil from erosion. They are planting just cereal crops, which are having lot of soil is not covered, so which are having lot of free spaces. So, and also root growth is also very important in preserving your soil. If your root growth is excellent, binding effect on soil particles, then erosion will be less. So you can study this subject at your own. Here, the message is very simple, that your nutrients and organic matter is washed away from the soil. So that will decline your fertility. Number two, nutrient mining. I need not to overemphasize. By now, you understand. We are removing a lot of nutrients from the soil, and we are not returning back the same amount. So nutrient mining is also happening in many cases. And sometimes there is accelerated by balanced fertilizer. This point is very important. This nutrient mining is further accelerated by the imbalanced fertilization. Like NPK plus micronutrients should be added in the soil. But what is happening, that yesterday I was also talking, you are adding more of nitrogen, more of phosphorus, and very less of potassium and micronutrients, and maybe sulfur sometimes. So what happens if you are just adding, assume a case where you are adding just nitrogen into the soil. You are not adding phosphorus and potash. So if you add nitrogen into the soil, proportionately, it will remove your phosphorus and potassium also in proportion to nitrogen. So finally, year after year, your soil will get totally deficient in phosphorus and potassium. It will have nitrogen, but it will not have any phosphorus and potassium. And any further use of nitrogen will deplete its phosphorus, potassium, and many other nutrients. Assume another case where you have not applied any nutrients. It was a control case, just NPK control, means you have not added nitrogen, you have not added phosphorus, you have not added potassium. So there are two cases. In one cases, you have added just nitrogen. In another case, you have not added anything. In another case where you have not added anything, all the three nutrients will be removed in right proportion. And say after 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, you will get some yield from this control where you have not added anything. But you will not get any yield from this plot where you have added just nitrogen. So what I mean to say, imbalanced fertilization has been proved more dangerous than no fertilization. Imbalanced fertilization has proved more dangerous than no fertilization. So this may be your homework. You think over this point, collect some literature, and try to understand it. Why it is so? You can get further knowledge. So nutrient mining is happening, and what happens? Your exhaustion, your end or reduction of large amount of nutrients from the soil, and could be severe in case of NPK and sulfur, depending on soil nutrient. Problem is more acute where high yielding varieties are cultivated. So nutrient mining is number 2 factor, which is responsible for soil fertility decline. And you can see the quantity of nutrient, how much nutrients are removed by the crops, high yielding crops. So you can remember these figures. All the students in this class, I request you to remember these figures. Sometimes they will be asked in quiz, and many people will ask you, how much nutrients are removed by 1 hectare rice or wheat or maize or sugarcane? These are cereal crops. Cereal crops remove much more nutrients than other crops, than the legume or maybe than the oil seeds or maybe some fodder plants. These cereal crops remove very large amount of nutrients. To produce 1 ton, you need the rice or wheat will remove about 20 to 27 kilogram of nitrogen per ton yield. 20 to 27 kg nitrogen. Phosphorus P2O5 is 10 to 19 kg P2O5. And potassium is again very high. They are starchy crop. 22 to 48 kilogram potassium is removed for 1 ton of grain. And then you can calculate for 5 ton, 6 ton or 10 ton yield is there, then how much these nutrients will be removed. If you take the example of rice plus wheat, 2 cereal crops, so and they are producing 10 tons, it's possible 5 ton rice, 5 ton wheat per hectare, then you can think that 200 to 270 kg nitrogen will be removed. And to supply 200 kg nitrogen, you can calculate how much urea will be needed. 440 kg urea. 440 kg urea will be needed in 1 year. So can farmers supply that much of urea or that much of nitrogen? Maybe from other sources. It is not possible. And so large amount of nutrients are removed, and nutrient depletion or mining is happening. This is just one example to show you. And it is not just NPK. Such a large biomass will also remove secondary nutrients, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, or micronutrient, and mining is the end result. And then third reason for soil fertility decline is a physical degradation of soil. It can also happen. Physical degradation is your soil structure. You do a lot of plowing, heavy traffic, and things like that. You are not following crop rotations. Just you are going for monoculture. Monoculture means growing one kind of crop year after year. Means repeatedly you are growing the same crop in the same soil year after year. That is your monoculture. So monoculture, compaction, crusting, etc., waterlogging will result in poor structure of the soil. So soil structure, as I told you, is very, very important. and it changes with the management. It can go to the better, to the best, to the worst. It can go to the worst also. If you break down your soil structure, your grains, soil grains are separated, then this soil is not good for plant growth. So, uh, high disturbance of soil tillage often result in structural deterioration, which can be reversed to different degrees. So, physical degradation of soil will result in reduced crop growth, reduced movement of water in the soil, water holding capacity may reduce, and so forth. The growth of microbes will be affected. Soil structure is such an excellent soil property that that controls biological property, means growth of microbes. Soil structure also controls your water availability and root growth. So many things are governed and controlled by soil structure. It is very, very important soil property, I can tell you. If structure is disturbed or reduced, quality of soil structure, then definitely your fertility is going to be down. Now you can see this is the case of soil compaction. Soil compaction means you have put too much of machine, or your soil was very shallow. In shallow soil, you will get more compaction than the deep soil due to machinery. So what this soil compaction will do? Soil compaction decreases number of large pores. The large pores will be crushed like this. Large pores, more than 100 micrometer size are the large pore in the soil. These pores facilitate the root growth. And if these pores are there, root growth is easy. It is easier growth for the root. But this compaction has adverse effect on the root growth. Once your soil gets become compacted, your larger pores will be reduced to a smaller size. So the root growth will be stopped, and also waterlogging causes loss of nitrogen through denitrification. This is another kind of loss. So in this physical degradation, there is maybe this. So you can see this picture on the left. One is the compacted soil. Soil compaction has been there. On the right, on the left side there was no soil compaction. On the right side you can see soil is compacted. So you can see the root growth. On the left side, where soil is not compacted, root growth is free. Soil is one, everything is common, only difference in compaction. So soil compaction reduces root growth mainly by decreasing the number of large pores in the soil. Now, decrease in organic matter content in soil. I have already covered a lot of things related to decrease in organic matter. If your organic matter is decreased, it means whatever roles of organic matter were there, those roles will be minimized. Those roles will be reduced. So your soil fertility is getting to be reduced. When your organic matter decreases, a strong reduction in fertility, and your physical, chemical, and biological properties will be reduced due to lack of organic matter. So therefore, if your organic matter is decreasing in soil, it means your fertility is declining. And then there may be losses of nutrients through different routes, through different mechanism. I think leaching you understand. Leaching happens in most of the cases. This leaching happens with anions like boron, maybe boron or nitrate, and etc. can be lost from the soil through the process of leaching. But I can tell you there is a lot of leaching of sulfur also. Sulfur in the form of sulfate. Sulfate leaching is also there. And you would surprise that potassium leaching also happens. Potassium can also leach down. You don't remain in confusion that potassium is positively charged, so it can adhere to the surface of the soil colloids or adsorb on the surface of the soil colloids. Many times potassium leaching also happens. And to add to it, ammonium leaching. Have you heard of ammonium leaching? You must have heard about nitrate leaching, but there is a lot of leaching of ammonium also from the soils under certain circumstances. Today you do the job of Google. Today you go to Google and just type ammonium leaching. You'll get thousands of references which support that ammonium leaching is also there. So don't remain in fantasy that ammonium will not leach because it is positively charged. It is being leached down from the soil. And also potassium leaching is also happening. So you Google the things and you can learn more on ammonium leaching and potassium leaching. So many nutrients can be lost by leaching of nutrients. So if leaching is there, your soil fertility will be reduced. A fertile soil will have least leaching. It will be fertile if it has very low leaching. Similarly, waterlogging will result in your denitrification. Denitrification can happen. Ammonia volatilization can happen. So these are the loss mechanism of nitrogen. Somebody else will teach you when they will teach you about nitrogenous fertilizer. They will teach you how these losses occur: leaching, waterlogging, and ammonia volatilization. So soil which is having more losses by these mechanisms will have less fertility and will need more nutrients from outside. So such soils will become poor in fertility. Their fertility will decline if they have more leaching, if they have denitrification, or if they have ammonia volatilization. You cannot stop them completely. It is not possible that you can stop them completely, but we can reduce these losses. So you can see this cycle. Most of you are aware about this nutrient losses, how these nitrates are lost, denitrification losses, or ammonia volatilization. Now soil acidification, salinization, and alkalinization. I think especially students from soil science, they must have studied acid soils, how these acid soils are formed, what are the regions, in which area, what are the management factors that are responsible for acidification. So I will not go into those details, alkalinization, or what I want to convey here is that if your acidification or salinization or alkalinization happens, it reduces less supply of nutrients. Less supply of nutrients, or you can call it that fertility will definitely reduce. The management of soil fertility is different in normal soil and acidic soil. In normal soil and saline soil, the nutrient management practices are slightly different under these conditions. So change in pH also happens, which can sometimes can release nutrients in excess amounts. Particularly at lower pH, your aluminum iron can become toxic. So soil pH also affects the fertility. If soil pH is normal, we can say soil is having good fertility. If there are changes in soil pH towards extreme alkaline, extreme acidic, then it is going to decline your fertility if there is change in pH. Now, inefficient soil management, farmers are not managing soils well, so definitely its fertility will go down. So all the cultural practices, agronomic practices have to be optimum. For example, irrigation. Irrigation have to be optimum. What happens many times in canal irrigated area, you must have seen, you must have visited. In canal irrigated area, farmers do not bother about the quantity of water they are putting into the soil. They put a lot of water into the soil that can increase your salinity, that can increase your denitrification losses, and also leaching losses. So water management is affecting your fertility. Means if poor water management is there, it will affect your fertility, it will reduce your fertility. So like tillage, if you go for too much of tillage will lead to the erosion, etc. It will lead to the faster decomposition of organic matter. Similarly, your crop rotations, if monoculture is there, monoculture means your fertility will decline faster. If you have multiculture or multiple cropping, growing different varieties of crop, mixed cropping, intercropping, then your fertility will be better than monoculture. So all kind of cultural practices you can think. You can think how this weed management can affect your soil fertility. If you manage the weeds, your soil fertility will be good. If you allow them to grow, your soil fertility will decline. Year after year, if you allow weeds to grow, your fertility will get down. So all these some practices which are efficient. Okay, if these practices are inefficient, then they can lead to decline in soil fertility. You can think about other factors, cultural practices that can reduce the fertility. Then soil pollution, definitely first thing is that what kind of pollutants are reaching to the soil. Number one, you can see in the picture. Can you see this picture? Hello? One of you
Yes,
can.
sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Very
Yes,
good.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So we continue. Now I trust you that you are there. Friends, you are there. I trust you. And it is for yourself, not for me. So see, first thing is that we need to see what kind of pollutants are reaching the soil. You see in the picture, you can see plastic, polythene. These are the just visible things. These are the visible pollutants. And there may be a lot of invisible pollutants. Invisible pollutants may be toxic material from the industry, maybe effluents, maybe your heavy metals, what not. If I start counting poisons or toxic material reaching soil, you cannot prepare a list. So many things are reaching. So now question is, oh, okay, these materials are reaching. What harm they can do to the soil? What harm they can do to the soil? Number one, they will reduce the germination. The first point is the germination will be affected for the crops. If you see, if they will be mixed in the soil, this polythene, these wrappers, the gutka, gutka wrappers, small wrappers of gutka, khani, they will go into the soil, and when seed germinate, they will come in between the air, the atmosphere, and the soil. Means it will not allow seed to come out from the soil. So this is one, that they are affecting germination. Secondly, not all will decompose, but certain material, toxic material will decompose and can be dangerous to the germinating seed or to the plant. And also soil biology. They will kill a lot of organisms. Many toxic materials, heavy metals, they can affect the growth of the microbes, and also they compete for uptake of nutrients. Suppose zinc, nickel, your arsenic or cesium, arsenic, there are many heavy metals. These heavy metals compete with other ions which are necessary for the growth of the plant. For example, nickel. Nickel is necessary. So it may compete with other. Means instead of nickel, other heavy metal will be taken by plant. So plant will suffer from nickel deficiency. This is just one example. It may not be happening. This is just to show you that these heavy metal will compete with the crop nutrients in uptake. So that way plant may suffer from the nutrient deficiency. So there is a lot of harm these chemicals are doing in the soil. I think I have given one assignment to one person on this aspect, that how this soil pollution will affect the fertility, something like that. So soil pollution is bad. If soil pollution is there, it is going to reduce your fertility. This is the simple message. Now, now you have seen 8 reasons, 8 factors that are responsible for decline in fertility, like erosion, change in pH, physical degradation, inefficient management, soil pollution, organic matter declines. There are 8 reasons, or nutrient losses through different routes. 8 reasons why the soil fertility will decline. Why the fertility will decline. Now question comes, how to overcome these problems? How to remove these obstacles from the soil so that our soil becomes fertile? Now the management comes into picture. So you have seen 8 points, and you can reverse all those 8 points. Just think over that. For example, soil erosion is there. So now you can suggest the measure that you control the soil erosion. These are the ways and means to control soil erosion. Soil erosion can be controlled by mechanical approaches, by constructing certain check dams on the hills or in the catchment area. It can be stored by forestry measures. It can be stored by agroecological measures, by growing some grasses. It can be managed by efficient soil management. Deforestation should be stopped. Overgrazing of the land should be stopped. So you know how to give answer to control the soil erosion if you want to control it. So for example, if you could remember 6-7 factors which are responsible for decline in fertility, then you can reverse those. For example, soil erosion was causing infertility in soil. Then you can say, okay, we should manage it. Then there was decline in organic matter. You can say add organic matter, go for this cropping system, and go for less tillage, minimum tillage. This will restore your organic matter. Soil pollution, stop irrigation with sewage water, don't bring pollutants to the soil, something like that. So I think if you remember the points, you can suggest the strategy for the management of those points. Okay. So now you see it is management. You can call it soil fertility management. You can call it maintenance of soil fertility. You can call it restoration of soil fertility. Just terminology is changing. Answer will remain same. Improvement in soil fertility, how to bring changes in soil fertility, how to bring improvement, how to enhance soil fertility, the answer will remain same. Overall, what can I say is soil fertility management. You know, this course, the title of this course is Soil Fertility and Nutrient Management. Do you remember soil fertility and nutrient management? Means there are two components. One is soil fertility management. Other is nutrient management. You can break it. You can break it into two. Soil fertility management, because this management word qualifies for soil fertility as well as for nutrient management. It is part of both soil fertility management and nutrient management. So in this case, this is the gist of your whole course. What you will learn in this course is these 4 points. These 4 points will be there. Number one is that you need to identify the problems related to soil fertility. That is the job. You need to, I will explain it. Identify the problems related to soil fertility. There may be many problems related to soil fertility. How can we start? We need to start somewhere. We can start from the crop. Suppose your crop is growing. Crop is growing and you find some deficiency symptoms. Your crop is growing, your plants are getting yellow. Okay, your certain leaves of the plant are getting yellow. Then what will you think? You will identify the problem, whether this yellowing is due to nutrient deficiency or nutrient excess. Then you will also consult some plant pathologists, some nematologists, or you will go to some entomologist also. So first you will discuss that why this yellowing is happening. Is it happening due to virus attack? Is it happening due to some insect? Or what is the reason for this? What is the reason for this? You need to explain that, find that reason. So if it is related to insect or virus, just forget it, because it is not soil fertility problem. If it relates to some other biotic, abiotic stress, forget it. Sometimes yellowing can happen due to fluctuation of temperature also. Many climatic factors, environmental factors can be responsible. So finally, you have come to the conclusion that this yellowing is due to some deficiency or excess of nutrient. First, you need to decide it. Once you have come out with the conclusion that this is because of this nutrient deficiency or related to soil fertility. Okay, finally you have come out that this problem is related to soil fertility. Now your research part is that is it due to nitrogen deficiency? Is it due to iron toxicity? Then you need to look into the reason why this yellowing is happening. So is it due to change in pH? Is it due to shortage, excess So lot of guesswork is there. Lot of guesswork is there in this. So finally, you agree that okay, it was nitrogen deficiency. Finally, you agree okay, it was nitrogen deficiency. Still, you are not sure. You are just guessing it. So what I mean to say, first step in soil fertility is to identify the soil fertility problem. That this particular problem is related to soil fertility. The next step will be that which soil fertility problem it is. First, just identify it is related to fertility. Then infertility, why it is happening, which part of fertility should I look into? Should I look into nitrogen? Should I look into phosphorus? Should I look into pH? Should I look into carbon? So I'll go for plant or soil testing. Plant and soil testing to identify the problem. Suppose there was a deficiency of iron. Deficiency of iron. Then uh, I know that iron is sufficient in the soil. It is only the question is only the availability of iron. So I'll go for pH test. I will see is there any change in the pH. So suddenly you have tested the pH. It was 8. It was 8.5. Definitely no iron will be available at 8.5. So then I will come to the conclusion that it was iron deficiency. It was iron deficiency. So this is how, by doing soil testing, plant testing, we can precisely confirm the problem, soil fertility problem. We can precisely confirm. And then we can apply the corrective measures. So our first job is in this course or anywhere in soil science or fertility to exactly or precisely identify the problem related to soil fertility. Once you have identified, in this your visual observation, your plant observation or plant testing, tissue testing, soil testing can help us to get the answer. Like, this COVID virus, now people are doing rapid tissue test, this test, that test. They are identifying the problem. Identification of the problem is the top priority. Similarly, in this case, identification of the soil fertility problem is the top priority so that we can apply the corrective measures. We can go for plasma therapy, we can go for quinine, we can go for whatever possible, we can go for that corrective measures. So here also, we can go for foliar spray, we can go for soil application, we can go for green manuring, we can go to add organic manure. There may be many options to correct this problem. And finally, for long term, for restoring long term soil fertility, we go for, at the moment, most of the soil scientists in the world or in India, they say that balanced fertilization and integrated nutrient management is the best strategy to maintain the soil fertility. So in balanced fertilization, you understand, tomorrow maybe I will discuss about law of minimum, where we will see how this balanced fertilization is related to law of minimum. And balanced fertilization, we will see the value of balanced fertilization. And to supply all these nutrients, most of the people agree that integrated nutrient management is the best strategy. So this course will revolve around this. They will teach you fertilizer, we will teach you manures, we will teach you biofertilizer. But why we are teaching this? This is just to combine all these. Sometimes we can use them in isolation also. Sometimes we can combine only two. Sometimes we can't combine, we will use only one. Sometimes we can combine 4 or 5 of these, but all will be the integrated nutrient management practices, balanced fertilization. So these 4 points are very, very important in managing fertility, in restoring fertility, and for your exposing you to your course, so that you can link the things, whatever things will be taught to you in future, you can link all these things to the 4th point. If somebody is teaching you SSNM, how can you make part of SSNM as balanced fertilization? Balanced fertilization is related to SSNM. Similarly, your green manuring are related to INM. So this course will revolve around balanced fertilization and integrated nutrient management. Because in your course, it is soil fertility and nutrient management. Now you need to find out how soil fertility management is different from nutrient management. Because in nutrient management, you restrict only to the nutrient management, just your different sources of nutrient. But in soil fertility management, you also see many other factors like stopping the erosion. It is not part of nutrient management. It is part of soil fertility. Hello. It is. Please stop your mic. Somebody's mic is open. So. Please put off your mic. Okay. Thank you, Shashank. Soil fertility management and nutrient management. So I can say that nutrient management is part of soil fertility management. I think it will be all right. I'm giving you some broader idea that nutrient management can be considered as a part of soil fertility management. So I think this ends my, let me check if anything is there. So we can sum it up that soil fertility is declining. I think most of you will agree. Many situations in India, half of our soils are deficient in nitrogen, half are deficient in zinc, and many micronutrients, 30% in boron and so on. And also organic matter levels are declining. And we have also seen that the nutrient supply reduces crop yields, and there is decline in soil fertility, negative balance of nutrients, and nutrient mining is accelerated by imbalanced fertilization. You need to do some research on this point. The second last, nutrient mining is accelerated by imbalanced fertilization. Please do some research on this and confirm this. And then what are the ways to manage soil fertility? So thank you very much. I think, friends, now we have time of about 10 minutes for discussion. So now we can have some discussion also. Feel free if you have any doubt, any question on today's lecture, then you can discuss. You are free to air your views. Could you listen it properly? Could you listen it properly today, or was it not good?
It was good, sir.
Thank you very much. So it was audio, video was okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to see tell about the presentation. You could see all the slides perfectly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I think I can close the recording. Then we can have questions and attendance also. Okay. Thank you very much.